What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Diaries of a Mindful Stoner, where we talk all things cannabis, spiritual, and intentionally smoke related. I am so excited about this episode, y'all. Like, I must say, I'm sure you could tell by the title, Manifesting with Mary Jane. This is clearly going to be about manifesting. And this is a topic that I wanted to start off with this, but I had to lay the foundation and introduce you guys to who I am and what Endless Endo is about and what I'm building. So now that you have context, I'm super excited. This is going to be a great episode. So spark up if you're smoking, grab your lighter, and let's go ahead and get into today's episode. I also want to put a disclaimer. Don't come in here if you don't believe in magic. If you don't believe you have control over your reality, if you don't believe words are powerful, thoughts that you have are powerful, if you don't believe in manifestations, I mean, you shouldn't be here in the first place. But don't bring your limits and beliefs over here. Don't be trying to limit me. Keep that over there. This is clearly for those who are already a believer or have some type of interest in doing manifestations. I also, if you notice I haven't been smoking in my videos, it's just because YouTube isn't the most 420 friendly, so I smoke when I can. I have my Benjamin here with me, and I pregame, so we are so just smoke with me in spirit. Thank you very much. Today's high thought of the day is, and this is a high thought, this is really high. What if cannabis is truly connecting us to our higher selves, like our best version of ourselves? Like, what if it is a connection almost to our higher selves? This is something that I just really thought about. And feel free to expound on it in the comments. And if you feel like that's even relatable or realistic in a way to what's going on with you. But yeah, so let's get into the episode, y'all. I want to start off with the very obvious statement that cannabis is not man-made. Somebody didn't go in a lab and invent it. It was definitely grown from the earth, from the dirt, from the soil. And just like every other plant that has been used and documented in history to help heal us, connect us, and expand our human experience overall, this is just one of the many plants that we have here accessible to us. And to go even deeper, so easy in 2026 to get caught up in the marketing of cannabis overall, when this plant is quite literally ancient. It's been around long before dispensaries. It's been around long before this stigma that we have on it, this culture that we've created thus far. It's existed long before that, and it was used in both medicinal and ceremonial practices. And I think that's the part where a lot of people don't realize the history and the many lives that cannabis has lived throughout existence. And even me, I'm still learning myself because I don't know everything. I just do my research. I cross reference it, and what resonates with me as truth. And I suggest you do the same. You know, do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. It's so easy to just put into ChatGPT and ask it questions and it generate answers for you. But actually do your due diligence with researching and reading if you're that interested. But so yeah, I wanted to start off with giving that little tidbit because it is important that we separate ourselves from this narrative that we've created for cannabis, and we expand our minds to understand that this plant has existed long before us, our parents, our grandparents, it is ancient, babes. Keep in mind, cannabis has always been a spiritual plant. Like, this is not some modern concept that somebody invented recently to justify themselves with getting high. Spirituality and cannabis has always been hand in hand, and it's been proven through the research we've done because it's been documented as one of the herbs that a lot of different communities or cultures around the world would use. So I think it's something to take note of. Now I'm gonna read from my phone because it's so much information and I don't want to really report anything incorrect. But just to give y'all a little insight, we're gonna start off with let me see, we'll start off with India. Cannabis was used in Hindu spiritual practices for thousands of years. This is reported, documented, and it was directly connected to a deity called Shiva. Shiva is I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Excuse me if I'm not. Shiva is one of the most powerful deities in Hinduism. And basically, they would consume it during religious festivals and ceremonies as a way to connect with the divine. It's reported that Hindu holy men would use cannabis as part of their spiritual practices for centuries. And it wasn't recreational, it was used in ceremonial practices, and they treated this as a sacred herb in India. Not only India, but it was used in China as well. Cannabis was used in Taoist rituals as far back as 500 BCE. I don't even know. I can't even comprehend how far back that is. And the shamans, the Taoist shamans, burned cannabis in incense burners as a way to commune with spirits. Like, it was a tool that they used to see beyond the world, to see beyond this realm. In ancient Egypt, there's evidence that cannabis was used medicinally and ritualistically. Traces of cannabis was found in remains of Egyptian mummies, and some researchers believe it was used in religious ceremonies connected to healing and the afterlife. There's a common theme here, y'all. There's a common theme, which is which was used in many ways to connect to the divine. And we've lost the plot. We've lost the plot, y'all. I got one more here, the Rastafarians. Now, in Rastafari tradition, smoking cannabis is an act of worship. They call it wisdom weed, the holy herb, and it's a way to draw closer to Jah, which is their name for God. And it's basically a way to reach a meditative state that opens the mind for spiritual truth. This plant has literally been the center for spiritual practices for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it's so beautiful and fascinating to learn and just appreciate this plant even more in the ways that it has served its purpose throughout its existence. It's deeper than these little buy one get one deals at the freaking dispensary, babe. Put some respect on her name, okay? I wanted to put this into your mind as a way to put a bird's eye view over the purpose that cannabis has served humans throughout its existence. So you can see in totality, not just now, not your POV now, but even back then, the ways that it was used. And now that I've explained that and showed the history of the link between spirituality and cannabis, now let's get into how do I use Mary Jane as a way to manifest, which is my favorite. You literally can get as creative as you want. I've learned through research, and then I've also remixed a lot of it. Like, I'll see something and I'll just put my own little twist on it. I'll do something to personalize it to make more sense to me because Belief is everything, y'all. You gotta believe in what you're doing. You can't half-ass it. You gotta know that it's done. You gotta have that belief, that true faith, as people would call it. So let's get into it. There's so much that I do. It's hard to know where to start with sharing my experience. So I'm gonna start at the very beginning in the ways that I store my cannabis. For one, I take it out the plastic. I don't keep things in its original plastic. I have a designated container. Originally, it was a mason jar. I've recently been doing research on tinted bottles, like tinted glass, because somebody said something about how the light affects the chemicals, basically. So I do have, currently I have a mason jar in which I have an affirmation on it. And I switch it out. I change the affirmations. And basically I put my bud in there, which is pre-prayer, pre-intention all over it, because I'm somebody who's trying to be more intentional in every area of their life, including smoking. So I don't always get to pray over my bud, because I pray over my bud. I start praying over my water, praying over my food, and I'm praying over this bud too. Okay. But I don't always remember, and to be real raw and realistic, I don't. So I put it in the jar with my affirmation on it, and I also put a charged crystal on it as well, just to give it that boost of whatever it is that I'm calling in, that I'm manifesting, that I'm bringing in for that, but the purpose that I want it to serve in my life. Now, keep in mind, I'm also somebody that is a type A personality, so a lot of the things that I do is very organized to a T. You don't have to go this above and beyond with the ways that you want to manifest. However, I will say the more specific you are, the more dedicated you are, the more time, effort, and energy you put into it, the more it becomes real. The more you call it in, the more you bring it into your reality. So I have a journal. I've actually created a mindful stoner guide where I basically have a tracker, a daily tracker for when I smoke, and I put how I feel. I journal, and sometimes if I don't have the means to journal in that moment, I'll do a voice note or a video, and I'll say how it is that I feel before smoking, what my intention is, and then I'll record how I feel after. And just having that tracker showed me the triggers that I have, and it put a lot of things into perspective for me. And it, even now looking back at the old journal entries that I have, just the growth that I've had in my journey with smoking, my relationship with cannabis overall, has been so beautiful to witness and to be able to track and see the growth. So yeah, that has been something that I'm super proud of, and I would always recommend is journaling and being intentional with before you smoke. Now, I also, when I'm rolling up, I romanticize the heck out of it. Like, that is truly a reflective time for me. When I'm rolling up, I take my time with it. I don't rush it. I think a lot of people nowadays, they rush into everything. Everything is a rush. I even noticed with myself coming from New York, being a city girl and coming from a on the go lifestyle, that type of household, the ways that it's affected me in my day-to-day life. Like, I'll be washing my face like this instead of taking my time and being more slow and being more intentional and mindful with the ways that I go about it. What is the rush? And it takes you out of enjoying it. Because why are you trying to just hurry up and get it done? So I use that time that I'm rolling up to really reflect to really get clear. If I didn't journal, I'll just think in my head, well, why do I want to smoke today? What do I hope to get out of this session? Asking myself questions, that reflectiveness, it helps so much. Now, when it comes to smoking, there's so many different ways you could go about it. A big one that I use is visualizing. I'm really big on using my mind to visualize my goals, what I want to call in, what I want to bring in. And it's something about being able to picture this reality, this goal that you see yourself living and achieving. And then it's another layer of it to not only see it, but to feel it, to activate all of your senses. Like, what does it smell like when you're achieving that goal? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? Asking yourself those questions and building that picture for you. Getting clear on that goal, whatever it is that you're calling in. It helps so much because it's one thing to just say it, it's one thing to just see it, it's another thing to feel it. And I think that feeling, that emotion behind it is what really makes it real. That's what really calls it in. You gotta have that emotion tied to it, that energy. That is the magic. The language of manifestation is emotion. To have that emotion. It is powerful. It is one thing to think about something. I don't think you necessarily manifest through thoughts. So we have a trillion thoughts a day. It's the energy, the emotion you have behind those thoughts. That's what makes it real. That's what calls it in. I also want to say visualizing the action stimulates the same neural pathways in your brain as completing it. So it's almost like you're tricking your brain into thinking that it's already done. It's working in your favor to use your mind and to visualize because your brain can't tell the difference, love. This is why we got to be mindful of what we're visualizing because our brain don't know that that's not really happening. And that's just really fun. And I feel like being high just makes it easier to trick your brain because you're not you're not having this guard up of like, this isn't real, this isn't reality. It almost puts your guard down. So cannabis really helps you manifest because you're not thinking logically anymore. So get to visualizing, get clear on your goals, set it, and then use that big mind, that imagination of yours. Another thing that I use to manifest while I'm smoking is breath work. This is a huge one because we already do it while we smoke. We're just not conscious of it. We're just not intentional with the ways that we breathe. And I think it's definitely something to take note of. Now, I'm not, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm not somebody that is all knowing of the different breath works and what to do and hold for 3 seconds and release for 6 seconds. I don't know. I know I've done yoga before, and yogis are really big on breath work, being intentional. Even working out, when you're doing core exercises, you kind of have to be more mindful with the breaths that you're taking, and not holding your breath because you'll mess around and hurt yourself, you know? So I've learned through experience and seeing others who are passionate about it and picking up along the ways what makes sense to me. And a big thing that I do, take what applies, let the rest fly, is I'll use the release of my breath as a way to release what no longer serves me. Like whatever I felt like was a trigger for to get me smoking, I would, when I exhale, I would use that exhale to visually see me exhaling the smoke and think of it as a way to release whatever was burdening me, whatever was inconveniencing me, getting it off my body, getting it out my system, letting go and letting God. Because it could get heavy. Things could get real heavy on you, way heavy on your mind, on your body, on your spirit. So that was one of the ways that I would help release. And it made sense for me. You know, that's the big thing, is to customize things that work for you. I wish I could get on here and tell you, you know, to do this fire breath technique and this will give you mental clarity, but I'm not knowledgeable in that. I recommend doing your own research on breath work. I just take what I feel like works best for me and I spread the word, because this is what works for me, and results may vary. I mean, if you don't believe this is something that'll work, then and you don't see it fit, then I don't think it'll work for you. But yeah, that's just me, y'all. Another thing, and this will be the last one that I'll share about ways that I manifest while I'm smoking, is I'll meditate. When I'm lifted, the connection to source, to me, to quieting my mind and really being in that meditative state is easiest when I'm lifted. When I done smoked a J, I'll sit here and meditate, and it is so different than when I do it when I'm not high. Granted, I'm sure I could reach that state sober off of a natural high. I believe that is possible. I'm just saying from personal experience, when I when I meditate, and I'm grounded myself, and I'm really getting my pulling all my energy back to myself, it's best when I'm zooted, when I'm out of there, and I have great results, great experiences overall. So I would recommend. And the thing about manifesting, a lot of people just view it as calling things in, but it's also releasing. You also want to release. You don't want to hold, just keep have adding more and more onto your plate, and you're not releasing, you're not making room. Stuff that no longer is adding peace and value to your life gets released, gets dropped off, and it's a scary prayer because you don't know what's going to drop off. You don't know what's going to drop off when you ask God to remove anything that is no longer bringing value to your life, that is bad for you, that it has ill intent. You'd be surprised. But you got to have them balls, and you got to be ready to take change, babe. If everything stays the same, everything will remain the same. If you want change, you got to change. That is the way that the world works. But you know, actually, I'm going to do a bonus one. A bonus one. Create a ritual. When people hear ritual, they immediately get their panties in a bunch and think, oh, that's some witchy shit. And what if it is? But all a ritual is having a routine that is intentional, that you do with intent. That is all a ritual is. A lot of things in US culture is ritualistic. That's a whole nother rabbit hole that I'm not about to go down. But in many ways, create a smoke ritual that makes sense to you. I just shared what I do. That is what makes sense to me. I don't do everything all at once. I do what makes sense for me, what's called in that moment, what feels right in my heart. And that's how I go about it, and that's how I would recommend. You don't ever want to burn yourself out, get overwhelmed, feel like there's just so much to do, because life is hard enough. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. The ways that you can manifest this is so many different ways, and ways that you can ritualize your practice, your smoke practice, in ways that make sense to you to be able to call in what it is that you want to call in. Um, but I think the important part here is just getting creative and having a foundation and building off of that. So take what applies and let the rest fly. And then, I think overall, let me know in the comments what your experience is and if that was. I do want to ground this with something real before I close, which is manifestation gets a bad rep sometimes because people aren't specific. So let me be specific. Using cannabis intentionally and in a ways to manifest has helped me in so many ways. Realistically, it helped me get clear on my goals and my outcome. It helped me focus and get tunnel vision. It helped me put things in perspective, change the way that I looked at certain things. It just expanded my mindset, my consciousness in many, many, many ways. And I think that overall is proof that this herb is very holy, very spiritual, and holds value outside of just providing us giggles. I think there's so much more to learn about this plant and to experience. And I think we uncover that with being more intentional and mindful with the ways that we use it. And obviously, my job isn't to convince you of this. It is honestly just to spread awareness and to give you that knowledge to be able to know that there are other ways that you can go about things. You don't just have to mindlessly smoke. If that's what you want to do though, stay over there with it. I also want to be honest about the obstacles that some may have during this practice, which the biggest one is your mindset and belief. I feel like in many ways cannabis can help with that, but if it amplifies those fears, that doubt, that resentment that you have, whatever negativity, I don't necessarily believe that it's just not working for you. It's showing you what needs to be addressed. What needs to be addressed, and that can vary per person. I don't have all the answers. I can at most point you in the right direction and be a support system and somebody that holds you accountable in the ways that you want to grow and be the best version of yourself. But this week, I want you to try a manifestation technique. It could look like any of the things that I've mentioned. Like I said, you don't have to do a step one, step two, step three. Do what makes sense to you. Do what feels called on your heart. Watch this again if you must to see which ones felt curious to you, what takeaways you had, what perked your ear up, what you already do, possibly. Also, have a session where you don't have any distractions and you are just in the moment, in the present, and honestly see what you're able to take away from that session. Put your phone down, okay? Put yourself where you can just be with you, just you, yourself, in whatever environment you put yourself in. But that is episode 4, y'all. I thank you so much for rocking with your girl. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. I have just now felt like I got my flow back into it. I recorded an episode last week, but I don't even want to get into the hoopla of it all. But I was not in a good space mentally, and when I was recording the episode, I got into it with somebody verbally and I felt like harassed. But long story short, I scrapped that episode because I couldn't even get my energy back right after that. And it wasn't fair to y'all to put that on y'all. So I scrapped that episode and here we are with a new one, new location, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. The vision is clear. So we're gonna continue on my journey, on my path, and if you rocking with me, I appreciate you. Until next time, y'all, stay grounded even when you're lifted.